Reddit, well, this is a website on the internet that I know for certain causes sleep deprivation because its subreddits are just so addicting. They are guaranteed to keep you up at night because they are just downright terrifying. Well, how's it going, YouTube? I'm your host for this one, Landon Do Not Sing, and welcome back to another most amazing top 10 video. So today we're going to be venturing into the dark corners of Reddit. So if you're brave enough, I want you guys to come along on this ride with me as I break down the top 10 scary subreddits that will keep you up at night. So let's get things started. Let's start off this list, and at number 10, like we always do, with humanoid encounters. This subreddit features stories about people who have encounters with beings that resemble humans, but something is just a little off. So just to be clear, humanoids are creatures that have the general shape of humans, so they'll have arms, legs, torso, a head, but they aren't actually considered human. For example, we have Bigfoot, robots, aliens, and maybe even some people like Mark Zuckerberg, the lizard himself. One Reddit user talked about seeing a weird creature in the middle of the road. They were driving down a long road with a forest on one side and a cornfield on the other. I mean, no thanks to the cornfield. And all of a sudden, an unidentified creature ran across the road, causing them to slam on their brakes, and it looked like the size of a grown man, but he was covered in dark hair. And then we have another story about a teenager who opened his eyes while sleeping to find a shadow creature right over top of him. He said he felt like the creature was scanning or feeding on him, but he wasn't able to move at all. He woke up about 2 hours later untouched, but he never saw the shadow creature ever again. Breaking into number 9, we have creepy Wikipedia. If you're like me and you love falling into a wiki hole, then I'm positive that you're going to love this subreddit. It is full of scary Wikipedia pages that will probably haunt your dreams. So let's take a look at some of the most terrifying pages that I stumbled across. First, we have the murder of Junko Furuta. She was 17 years old when she was kidnapped by 4 boys, and they took her to one of their homes where she was beaten and tortured for 40 long days. The boys put her body into a huge drum and filled it with concrete. Apparently the parents knew what their son was doing, but they were way too afraid to call the cops because they didn't know what their son might do to them. Some other creepy Wikipedia pages that are worth mentioning are the black-eyed children, the boy in the box, and the list of unusual deaths. There are hundreds of other creepy wiki pages, so you'll most likely be up all night reading about them if you guys, dig the scary. The Chills makes its way onto this list at number 8. This subreddit has a ton of scary stories. There are enough scary stories to last you an entire lifetime. The coolest part about this subreddit is that all of these stories have to be original, and they're all under 300 words. I like things when they're short, sweet, and scary. So if you're in the mood for a quick scare, then I would highly recommend this forum. One of the scariest stories that I have seen was titled A Letter from a Killer. I mean, for some reason these things are just so interesting. Apparently someone actually got a letter in the mail from a serial killer, and he was talking about all of his dark and gruesome killing methods. He talked about all of his murders and how his victims were foaming at the mouth. I mean, a little bit disturbing. I should say a lot disturbing. He even talked about how they were bleeding from their eyes and how they were praying for him to leave them alone. If that's not creepy enough, at the end he said, "Maybe I feel guilty, or maybe I was feeling bored, and maybe I've already dosed you with my lethal white tablet from this letter, and this is exactly why I don't like getting mail, because you never know what is inside of them." A glitch in the Matrix confuses us in at number 7. If you believe that the whole world is just one huge computer simulation, then this is the place for you. Or it might be the worst place because you will spend countless hours on here freaking yourself out. I find this topic to be extremely interesting. One of the most memorable posts from here is about a guy who regained an extra day, or when this guy had an extremely realistic dream about his friend dying. In this dream, his friend said that one day our time will be up and we need to make the most of it. He woke up the next morning and he was so freaked out he called his friend and he told him about this dream. 2 days later, his friend's parents called him and said that he died suddenly in his sleep. So basically this guy had a dream that his friend died, told him about it, and then he died. Is this a coincidence or a computer simulation? What the heck is going on? The truth is here, and this takes us to number 6. This is probably the most strange subreddit on this list. From random and weird encounters to people convinced that demons is following them, this subreddit is your go-to if you're in the mood for a strange story. Someone on this forum was talking about how they've been having weird hallucinations while they're in bed. She can see that her boyfriend is asleep next to her, but then she'll also see him standing at the door with an evil grin just watching her as she's laying down in bed. Each night he does something else extremely weird, so she's having a tough time with distinguishing her reality with hallucinations. Another person talked about how they feel like they're being either possessed by a demon or followed by one. She will have these really strange thoughts and urges to do something evil, and she can't seem to control it. And there are a ton of stories about sleep paralysis too, which is absolutely terrifying. Creeping its way into number 5, we have paranormal. This entire forum is about scary paranormal activities that happen in real life. What could be more scarier than that? I actually have my own paranormal story that I should have added to this page. Well, let me tell you guys. During my birthday weekend, we rented an Airbnb. My wife and friends thought it would be a great idea to break out the Ouija board. They call it a game, I call it never play it. But when they were playing it, they were able to contact a really scary spirit who was able to answer personal questions that no one else seemed to know. One of my friends, who actually wasn't even touching the board, asked it something personal, and it was able to get the date exactly right. I don't know what was going on. We were all pretty skeptical, so everyone took their hands off of the plank and it kept moving. I wasn't there for that moment, but 5 other people have the same story and tell me that it moved. I'm pretty sure we should have all came to the consensus of burning that board and maybe go take a bath or go swimming in some holy water, because something was happening that night. But yeah, if this kind of stuff interests you, then you should check out this paranormal subreddit, because it is full of these stories, and who knows, maybe one day I'll go more into detail about my own experience on subreddit. Scared list brings us to number 4. If you're into scary gifs, videos, and pictures, then this subreddit is for you. Once you find yourself in this forum, you'll find it extremely hard to leave because it is very scary. And I'm pretty sure that this place is where nightmares are conjured up. They have a little bit of everything, from skinwalker stories, scary cabin in the woods stories, to devil encounters. If you're looking to never sleep again, then you definitely want to check this out. Here's a little taste of what you might expect. So yeah, there's a lot more where that came from, trust me. It's like going down a dark and twisted rabbit hole full of scary images and videos. No Sleep subreddits makes it onto this list at number 3. This specific forum features a lot of original horror stories that don't have a word count, which means that you can get lost going down a long, dark path of these creepy stories. And based on its name, you definitely won't be getting much sleep after reading some of them. These subreddits rely on the fear of the unknown to send chills down your spine, so trust me, you won't be disappointed. Have you guys heard of the Smiling Man? His saga is originally a no-sleep subreddit story that has been turned into a short film. And the story goes something like this. A man who had trouble falling asleep used to pass time by taking long night walks in his neighborhood. He went on his walks each night for 5 years until one night he saw a silhouette of a man strangely dancing, and he was headed straight for the man. He took his eyes off the creepy dancers to cross the street, but once he looked back, he was stopped dead in his tracks. The figure stopped dancing, and he was staring at a man with a huge evil smile. He just stood in the street smiling. After what felt like forever, he finally turned around and slowly started to dance away. But then he was coming back towards the man, but this time, he was running. The man ran too, and thankfully he was able to barely escape from the smiling man's evil grin. And now, coming in number 2, we have Unsolved Mysteries. This one ranks so high on our list because it is full of unsolved mysteries that you've probably never heard of. Have you actually wondered how many serial killers are still on the loose? I mean, I don't really want to ask this question because I don't know if I want to know the answer. Well, for those of you guys who want to know, the FBI estimates that there are between 25 to 50 serial killers operating throughout the US at any given time. And did you guys know that the average person walks past at least 16 murderers in their lifetime? I mean, that is absolutely insane. Okay, no wonder there are a ton of unsolved mysteries out there. So if you want to have an unspeakable amount of paranoia and fear incorporated into your daily life, then I would highly suggest that you spend some more time on this subreddit. Topping our list, and at number 1 we have Let's Not Meet. These stories focus on terrifying encounters people have with strangers. This subreddit is creepy because it is full of real life encounters that people have shared because they were shaken to their core. These stories are legitimately scary because they can actually happen to you, to me. One Reddit user talked about her close encounter with a real life serial killer. One night she was driving back from Colorado to Arizona when she noticed that a red truck was following her. He flashed his lights and began to honk the horn. The woman thought there must have been something wrong with the car, so she decided to make a wrong decision. She pulled over. She was on a deserted highway, but even though she was pulled over, the man kept honking his horn and flashing his lights. That's when she knew something wasn't right. The man got out of his truck and the man started to run towards her. She immediately jumped back into the car and sped off. The next exit was about 45 miles away and he followed her the entire time. Eventually he kept on driving and left her behind, but fast forward to about 5 or 6 years later, she was watching Unsolved Mysteries and there was a story about a man that would go on that same deserted highway with his red truck and use those tactics to get women to pull over so that he could murder them. I mean, how insane is that? I guess the moral of the story is never pull over for someone while driving on a deserted highway unless their vehicle is not red. If someone's driving a white pickup or something, that's probably fine, right? Well, there you guys have it. Thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you guys all in the next most amazing top 10 video.